everyone. Thanks for joining our presentation on the Beginner's Guide to Analyzing Ethereum Data. My name is James Mission, and this is Trevor Wenneker, and we're on a data team at Flipside Crypto. We have only about 20 minutes, so please hold off questions until the end. A little introduction about ourselves. My name is James, and I'm the head of data analytics and engineering at Flipside. I've been working with data for a little bit over 16 years, and I've been in the healthcare space, educational space, computer vision space, and now I'm building the data team at Flipside for the last 3 years, and I'll let Trevor introduce himself.
Hey everyone, my name is Trevor, a senior data engineer at Flipside. I am specializing in analytics engineering across all of our EVM chains that we offer, and just really focused on making data more accessible and transparent.
Awesome, thanks Trevor. All right, let's talk a little bit about Flipside. We're a company that's based out in Boston, and we've been around since 2017. We are a leading on-chain data analytics platform, and we make building data products easy to use with zero data engineering needed. We're trusted by over 80,000 analysts and some of the top Web3 and Web2 firms in the world. We cover over 26 blockchains and protocols, and we are adding more and more each and every day. You can integrate any data with our data, or our data into any project with using our SDK and API products. We have over 500,000 pre-written queries that analysts can use to begin their analyses. As always, you can query data, build dashboards, and export CSVs for free using our Flipside Studio tool. And at the bottom is a collection of all the different blockchains and protocols that we cover with our product. And this is an agenda for our talk. We'll go over Flipside's high-level analytics architecture. We'll cover some data structures in our EVM landscape. We'll do a schema and view review. We cover our entity relationship diagram, and then we'll go start building some queries and charts and dashboards with one of our Ethereum curated models. Then leave some questions at the end. All right, here's the high-level analytics data architecture. This is just to show you at a high level how the data is built on our platform. The far left side is where we source the data from. As you can see, those are archival nodes for every blockchain that we cover. We then work with node providers, and we also have data nodes that is housed in-house to ingest that data internally. The second column is our ingestion platform. We have things like live query, which allows you to hit the node directly in real time with only using SQL. So imagine like a postman on SQL, and then you can integrate that data with any of our data that we have historically as well. We also have something called Streamline, which is built on AWS Lambdas, that allows us to orchestrate ingesting data in large parallel batches as well. Now, the next 3 columns represents our Snowflake infrastructure. A lot of our data is built within Snowflake, and we use dbt as our orchestration layer for our testing and alerting as well. The bronze layer is the raw JSON data that's pulled from the RPC node. So anything that you would call with an RPC call, it would be stored in raw columns with text. The next layer is the silver layer, which is cleansed and optimized for that data. We do things like removing duplicate data. We'll add specific data types. We'll also do things like remove uncle blocks for specific transactions as well. And it also converts it into an optimized Snowflake table that allows it for faster querying as well. The last layer is our gold layer, which allows us to add specific metadata like prices and labels and tags to our data. We apply business rules to the data, and then we aggregate similar data together, like a lot of DeFi data and exchange data or NFT sales and things like that. And then Trevor later on will show you an example of some of those tables that we built to make analysis easier to do. And then on the very far right is how you can access data with Flipside. So we have an SDK, we have our Builder and Pro tools, which gives you access to a more dedicated and private environment to do your analyses. We have our Studio tool, where anyone can write queries and build dashboards, as well as export CSVs, which is free. And we have our Snowflake data shares, which allows you to have unlimited access to our data using your own Snowflake environment. So if you want to integrate your own data with our data in your own environment, you can do that with Snowflake data shares. And then with that, we'll let Trevor go and talk about EVM landscape and data structures.
Awesome, thanks James. So I'm going to take you guys all the way from the EVM landscape, what we offer at Flipside, those data structures, all the way up to building a dashboard with some queries in our data studio. To get started, I'll give you a quick overview of what we offer from an Ethereum and EVM standpoint. We have Ethereum, Optimism, Arbitrum, Polygon, Gnosis, Avalanche, BSC, Base, and more coming soon. And our models have this 3-layer approach that James mentioned called the medallion approach. And this is a bronze, silver, and gold layering process for our data models. So bronze is really the source data, so everything coming from the node or various APIs. Silver is really where the magic happens. That's our primary transformation stage. And then in gold, we have our final views. So that's what you're going to see in our data studio for public access. And then our models also follow this star schema approach. If you haven't heard of that before, essentially it's broken down into a fact and dimensional table structure. Fact is really record, event-based, and dimensional is more descriptive and contextual. And then we also have easy tables, which we sort of coined ourselves, and those are more conveniently decoded tables that are a mix between fact and dimensional. So really just trying to make it as easy as possible to access and understand this data. So what schemas do we offer? Using Ethereum as an example, I'll kind of walk through the foundation of how we build out all of our blockchains, and then what that means for our downstream views. So on Ethereum, we have 4 foundational tables: fact blocks, transactions, event logs, and traces. Those are really your core building blocks for everything you see on the screen and more. Some other examples of core tables could be decoded event logs, token transfers, token balances, ETH balances, contracts, you name it. If we could build it off of those tables, we'll likely have it or will in the future. For Ethereum, we also have beacon chain data indexed. And beacon chain data, for that we have blocks, validators, attestations. And then we also offer this pricing schema, which helps us kind of add context to a lot of our views. And that is sourced from CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap at the moment. So by taking all of those building blocks, we can build our downstream views. And the downstream views are really going to be pretty much every primitive you can think of across DeFi and NFTs, as well as additional ones. So our goal is to really have tables for every single primitive in crypto. So that could be DeFi swaps, DEX swaps, NFT sales, bridging, lending, liquid staking. We also have protocol-centric schemas. So this could be really diving deep into Uniswap data or Aave data. For the beacon chain, we offer different views on deposits and withdrawals, validator balances, and then we have a stats schema coming soon as well, which will be aggregated core stats, make it even easier for you to query this data. Awesome. So what you're seeing up here on the screen right now is going to be an entity relationship diagram, basically showcasing how we build our easy DEX swaps view. So all the way on the left, you're going to see that we have our bronze layer, which James mentioned earlier. So that's really all the data coming from the node. We feed that through a number of different tables, but eventually they end up in silver logs and silver traces. Logs are events that are emitted by contracts, and traces are really when contracts interact with each other within a transaction. So by taking that core data, we can decode it and build out this silver DEX swaps table, which has everything from the transaction hash all the way to what tokens are being swapped, what raw amounts are being swapped. And then we're also able to build this DEX liquidity pools table, which is everything for the creation events or the creation traces on the pools that the tokens are being swapped on. So by combining those two tables, we eventually can get to this DeFi.easy DEX swaps view. And this is going to be an easy-to-use table that allows you to query who the sender and the receiver are of the transaction, what pool the swap was occurring on, what the tokens are, the symbols, the amounts, pretty much everything descriptive alongside those records we're going to have here. All right, so now sort of to the fun part. We take all that data structure, and we're actually able to query it very quickly and easily using SQL. And so I'll break down this query real quick on the left, but as you can see on the right, the query will bring up these results, which is essentially answering the question of how much volume per day is happening on each of these DEX platforms. And so in the query, we start off by breaking down the block timestamp, segmenting it by day and platform, and then we're summing the amount in and the amount out to get volume, and counting all the swaps that are occurring in this table, as well as the unique contracts to get the number of pools. And so we're looking just over the last 7 days. And yeah, by doing that, we get this awesome table right here. And while having that table is really good to have that contextual detail, it's not super easy to digest. And so Flipside also offers full charting capabilities on our platform. So right here, we actually have an example of taking that DEX swap views, expanding it to 30 days, and basically showing the top 8 platforms over that period in an area chart. And so as you can see on the right, there's a number of different parameters you can edit, including what categories you want to include, what columns, how you want to segment that data, the color, pretty much everything you could think of. And so lastly, we take those charts and we aggregate them all into dashboards. And so Flipside has a massive community of analysts. I think you said 80,000 or yeah, and that number is always growing. And so these are some example dashboards that we have up here. You can see there's everything from DEX volume all the way to Flashbots data. And yeah, these dashboards are public. They're shareable. They are refreshable. And yeah, anyone can go and access those at any time. So all this is free to use in our data studio, flipsidecrypto.xyz. You can query the data, build as many dashboards as you want, even export it for your own use in your own environments. I believe that's all we got. So if anyone has questions in the audience, we'll be down there to answer them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. And we'll also be at booth 231 in the Devtopia area if you guys have any questions as well, if you want to try the product out as well. So awesome. Thanks, everybody.